Yeah, so Einstein finally got him talking on camera. Um,
Oh, I saw your Instagram post this morning, man. That's freaking
yeah.
awesome.
Well, it's so funny. I've had him, I got him the Friday after Thanksgiving. Is that Black Friday? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got him on Black Friday last year, and he didn't talk at all. I mean, he made like parrot noises, but he didn't
Uh-huh.
make any, we're talking about you? He didn't make any human sounds for at least 9 months. And then where his cage is, like my aviary is kind of shaped like an L, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
his cage is at like the bottom of the L and the outside part's up. So I was outside scrubbing the floor, the outside part of the aviary, and I heard this like feminine voice kind of going, "Oh," and it like scared me. I thought it was my wife. And I was like looking around and I look at Einstein, he's just staring at me, but it doesn't really sound like we were talking about earlier, it doesn't sound like an African gray or anything. Some of the other talking parrots have like a
Have
huskier
have
voice.
lower pitch voices, especially the
So
African greys. Yeah.
I thought, and I've got my neighbor next door. She's right on the other side of that wall, and she's a lady. So I was like, maybe it was her, and I'm just hearing her like over the fence, and then I go back and I hear it more, and then finally I realize I'm like, oh, you're talking to me, and
That's awesome.
and so then now he talks every time I clean the aviary. And then sometimes, and I don't know, there's no rhyme or reason to it, but like when I recorded that video, my kids were watching something on TV that he liked, and he just
Oh,
started
okay.
talking a bunch. And he's really camera shy. So like, I mean, he's acting this kind of shy thing he's doing is because of the camera. He knows somehow that he's on camera. So the reason that video on my Instagram is like kind of bad quality is because I went out of the room and he was just kept saying he was just talking over and over. He was saying a couple different things, and I literally like snuck around the corner on the other side of my house and zoomed it all the way in and filmed it.
That's awesome.
Um, because the minute I take the camera out or the phone out, he just stops. And except for sometimes, like if he's sitting on my shoulder and I'm looking at Instagram or something, then he reacts to the video. But the minute
Yeah.
he can tell if I'm filming it.
You need to you need to just like put your phone on a tripod and just sit it out with him
Well, I've got the
for
GoPro.
or the GoPro, yeah, for a good amount of time. Just let him get used to the just being used to being around it, right? But he's
Yeah, but
camera
I mean, like
shy.
he's around it all.
Yeah, that's
Like
true. I mean,
today, I worked from home today, and he was with me all. I mean, I even during lunch, he was sitting on my shoulder and trying to steal my chips, weren't you, buddy? And like I was on I'm on my phone around him all the time. It's like totally normal for me to sit there and like watch TV and like mess around on my phone, and he sits on my
yeah,
chest or on my shoulder. So
yeah,
I don't know. I
that's
don't know.
crazy. Well, I heard he had a hit another milestone today. I guess kind of a milestone for you, trying to get some wings underneath him
Oh
and
yeah, I completely blanked on that. What you were talking about. Yeah, so this couch I'm sitting on that's in my office, and behind, I'll show it here. Let me turn around. Can you see that there?
yeah.
So that's his in. I built it, but that's his inside play stand. So like when he's in my office during the day, it's got a food and a water bowl, and like he'll spend the night on there tonight. That's his like inside cage kind. It's not really a cage, and his normal MO if I'm in here working is he'll get down off the tree and it's up to him,
Hmm.
and he'll use my legs like a bridge because I'll put my legs up if we're not recording, and use my legs, come across, and then go up and do whatever he wants to do. Well, I was on a call earlier today, which was kind of annoying that he was doing that. He started to crawl across and he fell off my legs onto the ground. And normally that means I have to just go pick him up. And but I couldn't because I was on that call. So I was just like, Einstein's like, stop making noise. I'm trying to talk to these people. And then all of a sudden, I heard like the flying, flapping wings noise, and he just flew up onto the couch, which it's only like, what is that, two
Yeah,
feet? but
Right.
that's the first time I've ever seen him fly up and not down. I mean, I've seen him fly down, but it hasn't like it's like controlled falling. It's not,
Yeah.
but I mean, he's almost done molting.
I was
Come on,
gonna
buddy.
say, have you
Yeah.
clipped his wings or is he fully flighted?
So he's still got, I'm going to show him your wing. Let me show him your wing. So he's still got, like, if you can see on camera, I don't know, a couple of janky wings,
Yeah.
but, or a couple of janky feathers, but overall, like, he's, now he's going to be mad at me for that.
He's like,
But,
gosh.
he's still molting. It's been a long molt. And I don't know, maybe that, this is my inexperience with bigger parrots. I mean, in my mind, like a finch molt takes like 6 weeks, and he's been molting for like 2 months, but it hasn't stalled out.
Yeah.
It just it seems like the wing feathers are just, I mean, they fall out in pairs, like they're doing everything, and his body molt is done, but
Yeah.
maybe the wing molt takes longer. I don't
Maybe it
know.
just takes a little bit more time. Yeah.
Well, and they're big, these feathers are this long.
Right. Yeah.
So,
He said it's pretty taxing.
and it's really cool to watch him. He preens, when he preens himself now with the big, it's like he'll like pull his whole feather
Oh,
through,
nice.
which
Nice.
I didn't get to see before because he was clipped pretty short when I got him.
Well, it makes you wonder, with his previous owner. How old is he? You said what,
18. He's 18.
18 years old? It's like, who knows with his previous owners if they always had his wings clipped, and so he just, I remember with Mikey, because he was inside the house for most of his life, right? He's almost 18 years old this month, actually. Next week he turns 18. Crazy. Um,
Your buddy
anyways,
Mikey?
I mean, he's always had his wings clipped, and then I started putting him outside in the aviary, and it probably took a good year and a half before he felt well, before he, first of all, he even knew that he could fly, and then once he realized that, hey, I could like make it from this branch to this branch, flapping my wings, like he gets pretty good now. Like I definitely wouldn't dare take him outside of the aviary. I mean, he'd be gone in 2 seconds if he got spooked or whatnot. But he's starting to be able to fly pretty good in the aviary, and it's been nice. So maybe Einstein just needs to realize that he's got his wings back underneath him, and maybe he'll start to get a little bit more daring and try a few
Yeah,
more leaps out.
yeah. I don't know if he would fly away. I don't think we're there yet, but I am starting to be much more careful. Like I used to just have him on my shoulder outside, no big deal. But we've been harness training. Shout out
Yeah,
Aviator. Aviator sent me a harness for him.
nice.
Um, and now when I take him like from the aviary to inside, I hold his feet, which you should really do anyway, but I hold his feet
Right.
tight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but once we're in the house, he just gets to do his thing. Um, the only downside is there has been some poop in this room that I've had to clean up because he's a lot more adventurous, but like he's definitely getting a lot more comfortable and like Nicole said the other day, so I had left him up here and I'd gone down to eat lunch, and Nicole's like, "Hey Jay, look." And Einstein was at the bottom of the stairs, and her office is up here too. And she said she came out of her office and he was at the top of the stairs. And I guess I was on the phone or something downstairs, and he was like kind of looking for me. And then I'd talk, and he'd move more towards me, and then I'd stop talking, and he'd pause, and then I'd talk more, and he'd go more towards me. So he was just coming to see me.
He just wants to be by you, man.
Yeah, he's my buddy.
I've been gone these last few days for a quick work trip, and got back in this morning, walked out there, and Mikey was just freaking out, just flapping his wings like, "Where the heck have you been, man?" And I'm sorry,
Yeah,
dude.
and so speaking of that, obviously it's been a week and some change now since we did a podcast. Uh, Thanksgiving, the holidays,
Yeah,
everything. It's just been a lot. We both just been really busy. So we both had sick kids. I mean, it's a whole long
yeah,
thing, but we're
yeah.
back. We're happy to be back. And yeah, and we have a fun one today. We have a fun one, kind of a new twist on I think one of our more popular recurring episodes.
Yeah, we're
So
gonna instead of we've done some videos in the past, Jay, of birds that maybe we wouldn't want to keep and reasons why. And so I think we want to focus on some birds that we would love to have down the road and the reasons why we'd want those birds. So
Yeah. So that's what we're going to do today. Instead of birds we don't keep and why, we're going to do birds we want to keep and why.
The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. Bird Brains, Bird Brains. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. Bird Brains, Bird Brains.
First, we're going to shout out New Zealand. Get yourself a Birdbrains perch
I've
box.
I've got my box out in the shed. I should have brought it in. And
Yeah.
and Jay, I've had, geez, three, maybe four people send me pictures. So I'm gonna throw some pictures in here. Or if you're posting, I don't know who's posting this one, but I'll get the pictures to whoever we need so we
Hmm.
can send some shout outs to you guys that made the leap, subscribed, ordered the perch box, the Bird Brains perch box to be specific. And I've heard nothing but good things from those people that have received the boxes. They've been pretty excited about it. And so thank you for sharing. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you. Appreciate the support that you give to Jay and I and to our new sponsors, New Zealand. And hopefully this Bird Brains perch box will be something that we can continue
How you
many
doing?
years down the road and be able to bring some new stuff to your birds on a monthly basis. So
Yeah, so I've had several people reach out too, which it's crazy, like I mean I know I've said this before, but like I started this whole social media thing as like a joke to mess with my wife because she was embarrassed we had so many birds. Um,
likewise.
shout out Nicole, love you very much. Um, but and now there's like and then the podcast like we started. I don't know, by accident's not the right word for that, but certainly didn't think there would be like podcast branded
Right, right.
sponsored stuff out in the wild. And so
Yeah,
that's just crazy to see. But yeah, the main feedback I've been getting from people is that we don't know exactly how it works. Just want to remind everybody, like, not our website, right? Like they sponsor us,
right.
they are a separate thing. They send us stuff, and then we they sponsor us. We thank them for it. We promote them. The main reason we really did it, especially with New Zealand, is the capability of them to be flexible, right? So they
Right.
don't tell us what to do or say. They just basically I mean, consultants maybe is the right word. We
I was
tell
gonna
them
say
what we need.
yeah, a great partnership. I mean, they're looking to us in some of the expertise that we have in the Finch world. They've got other partners that help them with the larger hookbill world, and so really just working together as partners, feeding off each other's expertise to try and build this website as best as they can. So
Right. And so they've got, if you subscribe to the Perch Box, you get additional discounts and free shipping over a certain dollar amount. And so a lot of the feedback I'm getting is like it actually it makes financial sense for me to subscribe because I
yes,
end up net saving money plus I get this box. Um so we'll get in there, use code BirdBrains
yep,
for 10% off and get you some of this perch box goodness, different stuff every month. And then also just like other supplies. And we've had several people request S76. We are working on that. We do hear you.
yep. S76 and the calcium powder. That's I know is in the works. So I know we've already reached out
Mhm.
to New Zealand on that one, and they're trying their best to get that in stock and put it on the website for you guys. So yeah, hopefully the S76. I've had quite a few people too, Jay, reaching out. So hopefully that's something that we've already escalated it up. They're looking at what they can do to try and get that into their warehouse for us to be able to have. So hopefully that will come down the road as well sooner than
Yeah.
later.
And I did have one person, I had a funny thing. So I had somebody reach out and say, my friend AZ Aviary, she said, hey, I'm trying to use their website. Like, do they do they allow local pickup? And turns out, yes, they do. And then she Googled their location, and they're like 4 miles from her house.
No
So,
way.
yeah, she's like they're closer than the old pet store I was using. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. So if
That
you're
is
in if you're in
money.
Arizona, look it up. You might not need shipping. You might just be able to get a screaming deal.
Seriously. I may be traveling out to Chandler, Arizona area first couple weeks in January, so I might have to look them up and go pay them a visit.
So I'll start. This is a really easy one for me. It's my favorite joke to tell my wife. The hyacinth macaw. They are just so stinking cool. I love the color, the eyes, everything, their beak. They are gigantic. Something about that appeals to me, like a bird the size of me. Um, the big wingspan, the whole deal.
Uh-huh.
The raw power in their beak. The reason I don't have one right now is all those things. They're just too. I'm not equipped. They're too big. But down the road, if I ever have a zoo or something like that, I'm getting hyacinths. They're
Absolutely.
also crazy expensive.
Crazy expensive to buy and crazy expensive to maintain.
Yeah, their diet, they need a lot of nuts, and the nuts are like you can't buy the tiny little acorns or whatever. They need like macadamia nuts and stuff like that. But man, they are cool. Do you follow Chan the Birdman on Instagram?
I don't think I do.
So he's like Caesar Milan, but for birds.
Okay.
And I think he lives in California, but he has four hyacinths and two. I think they're scarlet macaws,
Uh-huh.
and he free flies them.
Oh,
And
wow.
I mean, it is the coolest
I'm gonna
thing in the
have to
world. And
I'm gonna have to look them up next time I'm in California.
I mean, and this, like, Einstein is my dream parrot. If I had to have just one, it would be Einstein, just to clarify, but that's not what this list is. This is just birds that I really want, and hopefully one day I'll have. So, hyacinth macaw on that list. You got to have a crazy cage because, like Einstein's cage, which, has good thick metal bars, it's like
Mm-hmm.
hyacinth jaws are like the jaws of life. They'll just go right through that. And
Yeah.
like,
Mm-hmm.
our friend Zeb, Blue Planet Pets, he has a couple of hyacinths, and including a blind one he just got named Lightning. That's awesome. But um, he has like these big stainless steel cages, and they still just he'll post videos every now and again like chunks of cage bar.
Golly.
It's amazing.
That's nuts. That you you stole mine, Jay. So that's my favorite bird. If you guys look at my logo on my
Yeah,
channel, it's the
I didn't
hyacinth
think of
macaw.
that. I did
If
steal
you
it, didn't I?
if you ask any of my kids, hey, what's Dad's favorite bird? They'll say the hyacinth macaw. Like they even know it by name, the hyacinth macaw. It's not just the bluebird; it's the hyacinth macaw. It's that as a kid. So there, I had a guy. He was like bird sitting, and he's a big bird breeder, but didn't ever have any macaws like that. But one day, I was probably like 8. I mean, I was little. I remember him coming over and showing my dad he was sitting this hyacinth macaw, and he brought it into our house.
Oh
And
man,
we got it like, I mean, super chill. All of us were holding it, petting it, like, and it was like from that day on, I was like, that's my bird. I want it so bad. But yeah, comes a lot of responsibility with those. So if you guys want a big bird like a macaw or a cockatoo, etc., like please do your homework. Don't just jump in and buy one. They're crazy expensive. They come with a lot of personality, good and bad, and expensive to keep and maintain throughout the years. And they live forever if you treat them right. So
yeah,
it's a
80
long
plus.
term, yeah, long term commitment. It's not just you get a dog and it only lives 7 to 10 years and dies of old age. So but
I have a friend that has a breeding pair of hyacinths, so
really,
yeah, we can talk about that.
well,
But
yeah,
but uh,
you have to
but
get
yeah,
me into
just
that circle. So,
I guess we
but
could just say it. There's no reason not to. So like you're for like a good hyacinth macaw like baby, you're hand fed. You're looking at the range
10.
30 to 35,000.
Mhm.
Used to be
So,
10. They're way higher than that
uh-huh.
now. Yeah.
I remember looking at my early 20s and it was about $10,000 a bird, hand
Yeah.
raised, you know, and I was like, man, it's so
North of
expensive. And then
30 now.
nowadays it's like triple. Jeez.
Yeah, and
I think,
I was going to say one more thing. Hyacinth macaws in particular, because they're so expensive, are common with this scam. Do not buy eggs. Do not buy
oh
a
yeah,
parrot egg. I see them for sale all the time. Hyacinth macaw egg, fertile, $5,000.
oh my gosh,
There is no reasonable good way for you to find out if that's a hyacinth macaw
no,
egg or a chicken egg or whatever it is. Do not buy parrot eggs, especially for thousands of dollars.
no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay that much money for any egg. It's like the odds of that egg surviving, hatching out for you, it's
You're
very
buying a
slim.
lottery ticket, maybe.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Maybe, yeah, there's not even a, you probably have a better chance at the lottery.
right.
So I think my bird, we're going to stick with the big ones, Jay. And there's multiple species, but there's one in particular, and I maybe if I help me with the name of it, if you know, but it's a black cockatoo. It's like the biggest
The
black
palm,
cockatoo,
the palm.
palm cockatoo. Um, those birds are awesome. I actually got a hold one last year. So I went to Arizona, no, 2 years ago. I went to Arizona for a soccer tournament for my nephew, and we just randomly hit up this pet store. And actually, it was pretty legit. They had tons of birds. They specialized in birds,
Mhm.
which I thought was awesome because it's not that case in most pet stores. And they had a palm cockatoo there, and we
Mhm.
got to hold it, and it was super chill and just hung out on our shoulders. First time I've ever seen one in real life, and then obviously the first time I ever held one. I thought that was really cool. Like those, I put those kind of in a similar realm as the hyacinth macaws. Very expensive, hard to find. Need a little extra maintenance. Their beaks are huge in comparison to their heads and bodies, and very intimidating. But for the most part, especially from a cockatoo family, fairly mild mannered. And I don't think I'd ever own a cockatoo unless it was the palm
Mhm.
cockatoo or a cockatiel. That's about the only two extremes within the cockatoo family that I would own any of those birds. But yeah, it was really cool. Would love to have an opportunity to keep one of those down the road. Super awesome birds.
Yeah, I just while we were talking, I just had to Google it to make sure I get the name right. But and I'm going to put the picture of this one up too. You just gave me another one that I want to do. Yeah, the palms. You know what they kind of look like? The movie like Predator.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They kind of look like the Predator. They have this, they're crazy cool looking. Well, I'll put up pictures for all these. I think I'm going to post this one. I think it's my turn, right? So,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
yeah,
very unique looking bird.
and beautiful. And so I've
Yeah.
got another one, also a cockatoo. And I know in birds we don't keep in wild, we say we never get a cockatoo. We should have said the white cockatoos because the
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the Moluccans, like the pink
Uh,
ones, like there's some cockatoos I would own.
mhm.
I just wouldn't own the big white ones like your sulfurs and your crested.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Umbrellas. Yeah.
yeah, scare me. But
Yeah.
the red-tailed black cockatoo.
Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I wanna read the little thing here. It says, as the name suggests, the red-tailed black cockatoo is recognizable for their gorgeous orange to red tail feathers that often resemble sunsets,
That's
and
awesome.
their crests proceeding past their beaks in regal-like fashion are unlike any other black cockatoo crest. And then they have this, they're black, right? But they have these like yellow dots, kind of like a starfinch, but
Uh-huh.
just
Hmm.
they look like the night sky with the sunset. And
Yeah.
again, these are none of these are birds that you should go buy tomorrow. These are like
No.
all like very advanced care. A lot of them are like endangered. I don't even know if you can legally own a red-tailed black cockatoo. They're native to Australia. I don't know if there are any. I've never seen one in captivity in the States for sure. I've seen videos of them, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I've
I don't
seen
know if you can even own one.
I've seen a few posts back in the day of a couple people talking about owning them in the US, but incredibly rare. There's actually a guy that I follow on Instagram, and I need to go look at his name. He does all things black cockatoo. Lives in Australia. He's building a sanctuary for them.
Oh, I follow him too. I follow that
Yeah,
guy too.
I think
He's
that's
bald like me. Yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
follow that guy.
really, really cool to see what he's doing for them and tried to help that species out. I thought that was really cool. So shout out to you, my man.
Gotta look up his
We'll
name.
post your name in there and get your channel on there. But I think you're doing some great work there and love the movement there and helping those species out.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so those all of these birds so far are like just awesome. What do you
Yeah,
think, Einstein? Would you like a cockatoo friend? He's like, no, I only want you.
he's like, yeah. I
Like
think
we could live on an island together. He would be happy.
yeah, and I would say, Jay, with these birds, obviously these are big birds that we've highlighted so far,
I've got
and I'm
some
gonna
small
get
ones.
yeah, and I'm gonna get into the small ones too. But my thing is, all of these birds are dependent on the space that you have available and options that I could do aviary wise, right? Like I would, if I were to ever get any of these birds down the road, it would be because I have space available and I would be able to specialize my aviaries for those species, whether it's for flight, whether it's for breeding, etc. And pretty much maxed out where I'm at here with the space and what I have. We can kind of tweak the species around as we go throughout the years, but just want to make that clear that that would always be the number one, the first factor that would have to happen or be accomplished before I'd even like truly consider getting some of these birds because you're taking it to the next level, and I want them to be happy and healthy and have the right environment instead of me, having buyer's regret down the road
Yeah,
financially and space wise because I don't have the right place for these birds.
yeah, like to have like a cockatoo in an aviary setting, I think you'd have to have them by themselves, right? You could have a pair maybe,
Absolutely.
or I guess if you had like a massive aviary, you could have a flock of them. But like my aviary with all my birds in it now is still not big enough, right?
Right.
My aviary,
No.
the outside part's 15 feet long, 5.5 feet wide, and 7 feet tall. That's not big enough. You need,
Right.
I would say like minimum is like 40, 50 feet long,
Hmm.
twice as wide, twice as tall. I mean,
Yeah,
their
these are big
wingspan,
birds, big wingspans. I mean,
yeah.
it would even 50-foot long aviary it only takes a few of those wing flaps to really get them going and get them across. So it's like you need that length to really exercise the birds and give them an environment where they truly can fly freely throughout. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and like
just kind of an added side note there.
a hyacinth aviary, I mean,
Oh man.
it would cost $1 million. You'd have to have like a custom, yeah,
Yeah, you legit would it would have to be, I mean, buildings big, right? I mean, the size
yeah,
of a huge warehouse building is
yeah.
what it would be
The
for a free
person
flight for a macaw.
yeah, the person I know that has the breeding pair, they have like a facility, right? They don't
Yeah,
have like it's not at their house. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. All right,
Okay,
what's next?
yeah. Jumping down. Um, let's see here. I've got me a list. There's so many birds that I want, man. It's like, ah, um, and this is actually a bird that I've owned in the past, for a short period of time, and I would love to own again, just due to purely to their personalities. They are such goofy birds. But the lorikeets, in particular, the rainbow lorikeets, but most of them I feel like have a pretty similar personality. They are clowns, man. Like if you think of a class clown, like your lorikeet is that. They just have so much energy. It's like they're on crack all day if you're feeding them the right food. And I mean,
Well,
they're
so
like,
they are though. They're on
right,
basically
yeah.
a pure sugar diet.
I mean, they're hanging upside down on their bars. They do this really fun stuff with their tongues. And they are nectar eating birds, so they do have longer tongues that have some like spikes on them designed to capture the nectar to bring back into their mouth. But they are so fun and super chatty, super energetic, you would probably have to have an aviary specialized just for them if you keep them, or a pair if you're keeping them in the house. But I owned a rainbow lorikeet back in the day for a little while, and he was so fun. Like there was never a dull moment with that dude, and it was like coming home from work and the dog is just sitting at the door wagging his tail super fast. Like that's how it was every time I came to his cage and opened up the door. Like he just was like crazy, like get me out of here. I just want to be with you. Really fun. So Laura Keats, it would be something that I would love to own again. And
But don't
the
they like 360 helicopter poop?
Oh yeah, yeah. So they legit launched their poop. Like we had to like move his cage away from the wall because he just like shotgun shoots it out, and it's runny poop, right? Because they
Yeah,
eat nectar. It's a
they're
liquid
on a
based
liquid
diet,
diet. Yeah.
and yeah, so they're just shooting out straight water, and it's disgusting. And so that's definitely something to take into consideration. We literally had to put up plexiglass panels on the outside of his cage just to capture the poop,
Yeah,
or
I
else it
think
goes everywhere.
have I ever talked about on the podcast before the blue and gold macaw that I helped hand feed when I was in high school?
No,
Yeah,
I don't
so
even think you've told me this.
oh yeah, okay. So my mom's best friend, her sister and husband were bird people. And so they were one of the first people that like when I really got into birds in high school, like breeding,
Hmm.
they were one of the first like mentors, the wrong word, but like bird friends that I had.
Yeah.
And they had like a bunch of Gouldians, they had a cockatoo, they had, and then they got this baby blue and gold, um, that I actually almost, she unfortunately sadly passed away suddenly a couple years ago, and her husband isn't doing well either. So I helped him rehome this blue and gold macaw, and I almost said, I just have to take it because bird's name is DJ. I helped
Nice.
feed DJ when he was a baby. He almost bit my thumb off once too. Not maliciously, he just didn't know what it was, and he just kept biting, biting,
Uh,
biting, and finally I
uh-huh.
was able to jerk it out of the way. But he almost got my thumb. But so and they ended up moving down. This was in Atlanta. They ended up the husband after she passed away ended up moving down near Mobile. So DJ was
Nice.
in the area, and he reached out to me and said, can you help me rehome him? And I really wanted to say, yeah, I can. Write to me.
Yeah.
Um, but instead I helped him rehome the bird. But um, they also bred lories,
Oh,
and
nice.
so they had like this screened in slash glassed in the winter porch where all the birds stayed,
Uh-huh.
except for the lories and they lived in the garage, and they had multiple pairs in big cages, and then they had plastic sheeting like you see it like a haunted house, like black plastic sheeting.
Oh,
And
wow.
the way they clean the lorries was once a day they would pull the lorries out in the driveway, take their like under tray out, and just hose off the cages, the birds, everything at the same time, hose out the
Yeah.
plastic, and then roll everything back in. So that was like,
Yep.
and they were breeders, so they were not nice. So it's interesting that
Yeah.
you had a positive experience with your lorry. I don't have much experience with lorries. I mean, I've seen them, I've held them and stuff, but
Yeah.
they, my main experience with lorries has been like these birds are really pretty. They're also terrifying, and they machine gun poop everywhere.
And their beaks are really sharp. I mean,
Mhm.
they're very pointy. Kind of sword-like. So yeah, you get an aggressive lorikeet, they can cut you. They can do some damage to you. So definitely beware there. Yes, thankfully my experience was very positive. Super chill bird. And it's every bird's hormonal. Every once in a while it'd nip you, but it wasn't like anything malicious that he was literally trying to attack you and take your fingers off. But yeah, you have to be careful there.
Thank you for not being malicious.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
just a
you.
stud.
He's the man. He has bitten me a few times, but it's not out of anger. It's if he feels like he's falling, he'll grab on really hard.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not even really a bite. That's not fair, but functionally it is, the
Right. Right.
beak on both sides of my finger, that cat, but he's never once shown any sign of like he's a, fight or flight. Einstein is definitely a flight. He doesn't, he's not aggressive at all, and I love him for it. He's the man. Um,
Super chill.
all right, so my turn again. So I'll go down to smaller birds too, but we're not to finch size yet. But a kike,
Yeah.
really want a kike. I don't. There's a couple different species. Um, I don't really have a specific preference for one or the other. They're really fun. They're really goofy.
Yeah.
Um, I Before I got Einstein, I had basically narrowed it down to a kike or an eclectus, and I got the eclectus for a lot of reasons. The main one being, I think they do better with being like alone for longer periods of time. So
Yeah.
like
Not as
Einstein,
social.
yeah, Einstein's fine with like sitting in his cage and watching the other birds be idiots for a few hours.
Right.
Um, but I'd say if I ever got like a second, like small to medium parrot, I'd think of them as like a medium parrot, but they're on the small side of medium. Um, it would be a kike. They are really goofy. They like do stuff like scoot around on their chest feathers and
Yeah.
um, get into stuff in your house and things like that. They can be hormonal
Yep.
and nippy, but so it'd be a little bit of a challenge, I think. But I think that's another bird that like I think would be an awesome bird to like do just
Yeah.
like do the show at the zoo with, right? With like
Right.
that they're really smart. They're
Hmm.
they're they're they can talk. They have a good vocabulary. They're cool little birds.
How are they noise wise? Are they pretty noisy birds? Or are they fairly mild when it comes to that? Do you
I
know?
always yeah, I do know. And I've hung out with them. I mean, I was I had a kayak lined up before Einstein came along. Like I was close. They The thing about kayaks is they're they're kind of like an eclectus. They're probably noisier than an eclectus overall. They flock call, which Einstein does too, but kayaks are notorious for like if they're bonded to you and you go around the corner, they'll just do it over and over and over and over and over until you
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
Um, but like define noisy. So like Einstein is, as we've seen on this podcast, right? He's not super noisy as a general rule.
Right.
However, when he wants to be, he can hurt your ears. It's like he's capable of being
Loud.
he's one of the loudest parrots by capability.
Yeah.
Does he actually crank that up? Not super often.
Yeah.
I've maybe heard him do it like 4 times, but when he does it, you're like,
Yeah.
it's like almost like getting like flashbang grenaded or something. You're like, oh, it like stuns you.
Right.
He can get up, I think, like over 140 decibels, which like that's roughly into jet engine territory of
Right.
noise.
Right.
Loud enough that it can make your ears ring. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, I think a lot of it is where their cage is, whether you have one or two, whether they think you're their mate. There's
Yeah.
like we said, a lot of these birds are more advanced. Like if somebody told me like I've never had a bird before, I'm getting a kayek, I would be like licking my chops if I was their friend because I'm like, cool, that means I'm getting a kayek in 6 months. So
Well,
it's
and some of these birds too, Jay, you can train. It, you can train them how to speak with different commands, right? And you got birds that are naturally noisy. Your cockatoos, your macaws, like they're noisy. Most of your conures, they're noisy. They have a loud, high pitched squawk, right? Sunny, our pineapple green cheek conure that we had, we lucked out and we trained him to when he wanted something, he would either whistle or blow kisses, do like the kiss sound. So he would do that a lot instead of a high pitched squawk. And so there are ways that you can try to train your birds to, get what they want or be able to communicate in ways that are not loud. But that doesn't always work. You have some species that is how they communicate. and it's very loud and
Yeah,
obnoxious.
I mean, like when you get into parrots, especially, and finches, this is true too, but they're just so small. They're not. I mean, my
Yeah,
canaries will get up and be loud, but
yeah,
as a general rule, like the big birds, like Einstein is smart. I mean, he's really smart, and he has a personality. And so,
right.
even within eclectuses, there are some eclectuses that are way different personality wise than Einstein. Just like people, there's some
Yep.
people that are like feral and some that aren't. So,
Good way to put it.
yeah. So I hate when people ask me like, are they all like this? It's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
you
There's
can't
no answer to that.
paint with that broad of a brush. You got to get lucky, or you got to be skilled, or probably realistically some of each.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Did you just go? No, I just went. I went Kayaks. It's up to you.
You did kayaks. Okay, I'm gonna um drop down and man, I got a big list. I'm gonna clump a couple of these together just for time's sake for us, but I feel like they're similar as to the reasons why.
I've
Uh,
I've got a group like that too.
okay, so I'm gonna drop down into the finches. Um, so the three I'm gonna name are the painted finch, and that's actually one you can find in the United States, down in Mexico area. The red cardinal, also
Hmm.
also in the United States. You got that in your backyard, Jay.
Yeah.
And you guys all know this one. It's been one of my finches forever, and it still will be the crimson finch from Australia. But similar to colors, I love the colors. Red, always drawn to red. Like red is one of my favorite things. On my trip, Jay, I mean, I can send you the video, but saw a red cardinal, and it was a pair, so male and female. And the females are just brown, and the male, man, he was freaking gorgeous. Like I just sat there and stared at him for like 20 minutes and had my phone out. Like I felt dumb. I'm in this city in this red cardinal, but he was freaking beautiful. First time I've seen a red cardinal in person, and
Oh,
side by the
really?
yeah, we don't have them
Oh,
here,
I
and we
got
don't
two
have them in
pairs.
captivity.
I got two
You know,
pairs in that I mean, I
yeah,
see the males fight in my backyard all the time. Yeah.
yeah. And the funny thing is, my wife is actually the one who spotted it. She went on this little work trip with me, and she was like, "Hey," she's like, "Look at that red bird over there," and I was like, "That's a cardinal." I was so excited. I was like running over there and like getting my phone out. It's like I just seen like an elephant or something, in the town. But no, yeah. So love them for the colors. I love the size. I like the size of the red cardinals. I think they're beautiful. That's something that if I ever have an opportunity to somehow, I would jump at any chance or moment to rearrange anything that I had in my bird room to make something for those finches to fit. So,
That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Georgia. I live in Alabama now. I mean, I'm right in the heart of red cardinal. I see them.
yeah,
I mean, I don't. I guess most of them are south right now for the winter, but like I'll see them. If you're at my house in spring, summer, fall, you'll see a red cardinal that day.
yeah, that's
So
awesome.
you just got to come visit.
I
But
know.
Torben over in Europe, Torben's aviary birds. He has an incredible like 60-meter long aviary,
Yeah,
so almost 200 foot long. He's got cardinals in there, and so yeah,
that's
they're.
awesome.
I mean, they're beautiful birds. I'm just not trying to do any time in the clink, so I can't
Yeah,
have one.
I know.
And does this happen to you? Do your friends that know you keep birds call you and say like, "Hey man, I found this baby bird, or there's this baby bird, or there's bird nest in my yard. Do you
Uh-huh.
want an egg?"
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Oh
people
yeah, all the
call
time.
all the time. So I've been offered like four cardinals this year by people, and I have to explain like,
Oh man.
yeah, it's super. One of my best friends in Atlanta had him right out his kitchen window, nest with babies in it and everything.
That's
So,
awesome.
and he
That
was
is
like, "Yeah,
so
I
cool.
could, I could open this window and grab you one." I mean, they were like, a foot out the window. And I was like, no, like we'll both go to prison. Don't do that.
Yeah. My older brother, he lives in Virginia, and he sends videos every once in a while of the Cardinals there in his
They have
property.
a beautiful song too.
Yeah. Now I've never heard the song. I probably could Google it, but I haven't. But yeah, and some of the pictures of like the red cardinal with snow on the background. I don't know, just
I get
Can't
it.
get any better than that. So,
So, all right, I'll go next. We'll start going a little faster here. So, just like you're red, I'm a blue guy. Love blue. So, and I'll put up a picture of a bunch of them, but this is Finch adjacent. The Tanagers they're a
hmm
soft bill, but
yep,
like your blue daiquiri tanager, which I hope I'm saying that right. The spotted tanager, I made a list and looked them up. The blue neck tanager, the
nice.
turquoise tanager, and then there's also like the golden tanager, which isn't blue. It's like kind of tangerine colored. But
Uh-huh.
there are some tanagers, and they're in aviculture in the States. They're pretty rare, but there's people at AFA that are keeping them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, but they are, I mean, gorgeous. And the only reason I don't have them right now today is because they're on a fresh diet. So they have
Yeah.
to have like
Soft bills,
fresh fruit every day. And I
insects.
travel and my wife is like, she's awesome. She feeds egg food and stuff during breeding season, but no way am I getting her to do fresh fruit every day. Uh,
And it's expensive.
I would
I
say
mean, you got to,
budget wise
yeah,
or time wise. So
yeah,
so no tanagers for me now, but I actually, even if I don't end up with a zoo, I think when I retire and I have more, I can zero in my schedule more. I think I will get them.
that'd be awesome. Yeah,
Hmm.
I love that, man. I actually have that on my list. Tanagers, there's several. The
I
greens and
mean,
the blue ones are beautiful.
there's probably 40 species in captivity in the United States, more or less, and they're all like, there's not one that I'm like, that's an ugly bird. They're all just
Right.
incredible.
Yeah, they're beautiful, beautiful. So, my last one, Jay, I'm gonna put two birds together, and they're very drastically different in species, but um, I love and I will own one of these one day. Just not yet, but a Turaco. I love the Turacos,
We've
and
talked about
similar,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
similar to you. I mean, they're soft bill, right? So they eat a lot of fruits and veggies and insects and things like that. And I'm just not ready to make that leap. That's really what it is. I probably could get one now, and it would be fine in my big aviary, but I'm not ready for that leap. But and then also, and we had just mentioned these ones. You actually helped me get in touch with a couple breeders just a couple months ago. But the crested partridge, so it's a quail, a little bit bigger. It's kind of in between, like
The
your,
roll.
yeah, the roll or crested
Yeah,
partridge.
same bird.
Really pretty bird. It's got green, kind of like a little crested orange tuft up top. Similar as far as like color wise to the Turacos in some of the species, but yeah, we'll would love to have some of those. It sounds like they're pretty sensitive birds, and so I would definitely have to make sure I did some adjustments and probably elevate some of the areas that I have in my aviary to house them. They're a jungle bird, love heavily planted floors, things like that. So I would have to make some drastic changes for me to bring them in, and I would want to breed them and be successful with them. And so I'd probably have to be very intentional and specific in my
Yeah.
surroundings and aviary.
My next question was going to be, are you getting some? So, um, I
Yeah,
know you're thinking about it.
yeah, I reached out to one of the breeders you got me in touch with in Pennsylvania. We actually been messaging back and forth, and she only has males. She had three males left, and so I told her I was going to hold off for now. But come springtime, I asked her to reach back out to me and see what she's got. And then another breeder in Florida that has a couple pairs, and they didn't have anything for sale at the moment, but they're going to reach back out to me in the springtime. So I'm hoping maybe this next year I could get my hands on a
If
pair.
you are listening to this and you have a pair of rolls, Chris and
Right
I
here.
will we will make we will make it worth it.
Yes.
We will figure it
Reach out
out.
to us.
Yeah, you will get a lot of free advertising, and you will get uh, we'll figure out some other. We'll get New Zealand to hook it up too or something.
Absolutely. That'd be awesome.
So yeah, if you're a roll person and you happen to be watching this right now, and you're like, I've got an extra pair, give us a call. We'll make it
That'd be
happen.
amazing.
Yeah, we'll get Chris a pair of those. Um, I'm full up at the moment. I don't think the only bird I'm really waiting on is a female Amandina from you. Really,
Mhm.
that's my only little missing piece.
She's all
Uh,
nice and weaned, man. Got my
yeah,
nice hen that fledged just a couple months ago.
if if only it
She's
wasn't like
kicking butt.
negative 5,000 degrees at your house.
Yeah, our high today was 27 degrees, so
Yeah, that ain't shipping a bird in that.
nope.
All right. Well, this one's gone a little long. Let's wrap it up here. Yeah, I mean, this is awesome. Can't thank y'all enough. We'll do another round of these. Go check out New Zealand, Chris. If they have a roll, where can they find you?
Well, my phone number, no, she,
Here's my address,
that's how
phone
bad I want
number,
one. Yes.
blood type.
Reach out to me, Instagram, BirdNerd4. Please, yes, if you have a roll, PM me tonight or as soon as you hear this video. So, would love that. And then also YouTube and Facebook is just Bird Nerd. Uh, I reach out, respond to messages there as well. So, usually not as quick on those ones, but do check those weekly and try to respond as much as I can and as frequently as I can as well. So, Jay, how about you? How can they get a hold of you?
All right, let's see, because it's gotten longer now. So I'm on YouTube, obviously. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Reddit, and I'm on Threads, which sucks. And I don't check it. So if you want to get in touch with me, Instagram's the best way. If you're trying to find one of us and you can only find the other one, we'll both help you out. I'm
Yeah,
the Javiary or the underscore Javiary on all of them. Chris is Bird Nerd, Bird Nerd 4. So yeah, reach out, get in the comments. We've said a lot of interesting stuff this episode, I feel like. So get in there and
yeah.
talk about it. And thanks, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
We'll see you guys. Have a good one.